Hi, friends! Welcome to a new old series. This is playing tribute to Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney, where this is technically the fourth game released in the franchise, but because of the timing of the uh, cases themselves and the timeline of the games, I wanted to play it after the investigation games because of what we're going to see as a time jump. I won't go too far into it because I think they explain it fine. But yeah, this is Apollo Justice Ace Attorney, and we're going to get started on this as our next playing tribute series. Still a part of the playing tribute to Ace Attorney because it is part of that franchise, and it is actually considered with the newer games to be the first of its own trilogy. So I've yet to see whether I can actually play those newer games for you guys, but I might as well get into at least this one. So yeah, let's as you can see, I actually have the option to continue on this screen. I could not delete the save file. It's probably because I'm using a 3DS and it's being weird as far as like the buttons that I'm pressing, but that's okay because there is no spoiler image here. It's just the courthouse. So I do appreciate that there's no spoiler, but it is sad that there's no art that goes behind, because I always liked that. Even the Investigations series had like the character art, which was fun. But anyway, so yeah, I don't want to say too much about this game. I just want to play it and let it introduce itself with, how it's made here. So let's jump right into Turnabout Trump. Showdown time. You lose. I seem to be in a bit of trouble. Something like that. Dead. Someone hit him hard. Me, please. The cops should be here any minute. I'm in your hands. Should it come to that. The good old-fashioned way of these cases going. Here we are in the courtroom. Did you guys miss it? Panicked, palms sweaty. I can admit it. I'm nervous. Good morning. Good morning, sir. You look tense, Justice. Wound up tight. Wound up, sir. No, I'm loose. I'm fine. Screeching noise. Is that your voice? I suppose it's to be expected. Your first trial, and it's a homicide. I guess justice doesn't start small, eh? I'm fine! I got up at 5 a.m. today to do my Chords of Steel voice workout. I'm fine! That explains it. I did detect a certain rasping quality to your screech. I overdid it again. As you know, your client today is a good friend of mine. I wouldn't want to let him down, if you get my drift. Drift gotten, sir. I'm all over that drift. As it happens, I dined with him the night of the murder. You can't let this case fall through. Yes, I'm fine, sir. One more thing. Don't say you're fine quite so much. You'll learn very quickly that that's basically that's his thing. People might take you the wrong way. I'll be preparing our case. You might want to introduce yourself to the client. My name is Apollo Justice. If it isn't clear already, I'm a new attorney. And today is my first trial. Not that I'm worried or anything. The defendant has been accused of murder. My boss wants to help him out, of course, and so do I. I mean, there's no way he did it. Not him. No way. Whoa! Good, morning. Morning. It's all up to you today. First trial, nervous. Meeting him, cardiac arrest. I think I'm supposed to say something? Help. So you're... Fine! I'm fine! Mr. Fine, is it? I did remember you having an odd name. Well, we're off to a great start. Are you sure you're okay? I mean, with me? Mr. Gavin is a top-notch defense attorney, and he's your friend. So why... You'll see. Huh? You can do it. Be confident. I'm really sorry this happened to you. I mean, It's time, shall we? Yes, sir! Okay. I need to focus. First trial, here comes justice. The question marks for the name, surprised me. I thought that it told you right away, but I wonder if any of you guys know who that was. The court is now in session. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is fine. I mean, ready, Your Honor. Mind going blank. Don't panic. Too late. Your name was Mr. Justice, and this is your first trial. Yes, Your Honor, but I'm fine, really. Are you quite sure? Your voice sounds a bit strained. Mr. Gavin. Yes, Your Honor. I was under the impression that you would be heading up this case. That was my intention, yes. However, a defense attorney must always cede to his client's wishes. And my client specifically requested Mr. Justice. Oh, well, of course he wants justice. But to entrust his case to this greenhorn, why? I do not exaggerate when I say that you're the best defense attorney in town, Mr. Gavin. Okay, so Gavin's got trial experience, fine. But does he have cords of steel? Then let's begin. The defendant may enter the courtroom. Hello again. I like his hat. This is truly an unfortunate turn of events. Oh, now they're gonna tell you who he is. I'm sorry we had to meet again under these circumstances. Long time no see, Mr. Wright. Let's put the past behind us, shall we? These days, I'm merely Phoenix Wright, piano player. Mr. Wright, how could this have happened? I won't speak of it further, then. If the prosecution would be so kind as to explain the charges, Mr. Payne. To think I saw you enter this room a fresh attorney, and now I'll see you leave in chains. Oh, Winston Payne, subtle as ever I see. I'm surprised he remembers him, because wasn't that like a running gag in the last few? It's like, oh, I don't remember who this guy is. Get him! The crime occurred at the Borscht Bubble Club, a Russian restaurant. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, took the victim, a customer, and he hit him. Wham! On the head. Smack. Killed him cold. A customer at the restaurant, you say? And the defendant, you say he was the pianist for the club, it seems. Phoenix Wright, a pianist. This is the weapon that took the victim's life. A bottle of grape juice. Grape juice is apparently our defendant's drink of choice. The court accepts the deadly bottle as evidence. Oh, look at all this evidence I have. I should probably take a look at it. Something to note, Justice. All evidence is filed in the court record. Make a practice of checking it frequently. The court record. Right. I've heard of that. Use the court record button to look at the evidence so far. I'm confident in your ability to handle this. Thanks, boss. So, fun fact. Apollo Justice was the first DS game that was, like, originally DS, because, I mean, all of them were DS, but, this is the first one that was originally DS. Because when the original trilogy was moved to America, it was moved for the DS, but originally it was for the Game Boy Advance. So anyway, all that being said, because I can check all of the evidence like this now. And that wasn't something that you could do before. Time of death was 2 a.m. April 17th, death caused by a single blow to the forehead. Shady Smith. I love how technical this always gets. I'm looking at my... Okay, the sub-basement at the Borscht Bowl Club touched it. So there he is. Ah, Bears' prints. Lovely. Empty. Should I check the badge? I feel like I should check the badge, just for fun. It's number. There are many numbers like it, but this one's mine. Proof I'm an attorney. Tell the truth, I ain't gonna have any feelings inside just looking at it. Okay. Right. The court record button sounds like it's time for some hands-on action. So the victim was a customer at this restaurant. But just who was this Shady Smith fellow? We believe he was a traveler, Your Honor. Traveler? According to his passport, he has been out of the country for a number of years. He had only returned to this country recently, though his place of residence is unclear. And he had some sort of connection with the defendant. That, too, is unclear at the present, Your Honor. We believe they first met at the Borscht Bowl Club on the night of the crime. If they had only just met, then why murder? Perhaps the victim slighted the defendant's piano playing? That doesn't appear to be the case. No, the motive had nothing to do with the defendant's lack of playing skill. Well, come on now. Who knows? Maybe Phoenix is a really good pianist. You don't know. Pain. At least not piano playing. I'll let this photo explain what I mean. Okay, that's the photo we just saw. As we can see, a game of poker was in progress at the scene of the crime. Which, by the way, and I think I've alluded to this already, but I don't know whether they ever say, but it's been 7 years since the Phoenix Wright games. So, keep that in mind based off of his age here. Good old Winston. Wait a second. Isn't poker gambling? That's a crime in and of itself. Indeed, it appears our defendant has fallen to become the basest sort of criminal. Objection! It is true that the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim, yet it was only that, a game, in the purest sense, a competition, Your Honor. Competition? Yes, a test of wits, a silent clash of passions. Only the cards, their backs wreathed in blue flame, know the final outcome. Come again. The cards on the table had blue backs, Your Honor. I believe the defense was waxing poetic in an attempt to mystify those present and impress women. That will be our first order of business here, then, to find out more about this fatal game of cards. Very well, defendant. You will testify to the court about the poker competition held the night of the crime. My pleasure. This is it. My first trial. Here goes nothing. I'm a pianist by trade, yet I can hardly play at all. Oh, okay, I guess he isn't bad. My real job is to take on interested customers over there at the poker table. The room where we play and the competition in there are the club's main attractions. The rules are simple. We play a game of poker using 2 decks of cards. That's all it is, a game. And our customers are happy. Gotta practice those logic and courtroom skills somehow. Keep it sharp. Pianist who can't play piano. Better than a defense attorney who can't defend. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. Right, Your Honor. My first cross-examination. Don't blow it. You're right, you're sweating bullets. Bullets? Where? It's a figure of speech, Justice. Your voice sounds strained and raspy, too. My brain feels strained and raspy, sir. You've watched me perform cross-examinations many times. You've never done one yourself, have you? Be care for a refresher. What to do? Should I ask Mr. Graham for a refresher course in cross-examination? We'll spare you guys that. I don't need it. No need for help here, sir. I think I got this one covered. You'd better do more than think. You know it, or you do not. I'm fine! The cords of steel are ready for battle. My weapons, press and present. Find any inconsistencies, any lies in the testimony, and reveal them to the court. That is a cross-examination. Learn it, know it, do it. Inconsistencies, lies. Phoenix Wright. As if. Phoenix Wright would never lie, and it's up to me to prove it. Defense may begin the cross-examination. So his reputation precedes him. Apollo definitely knows who he is. Hold it! They pay you just to play poker? That would seem to be the case. I am professional, after all. Do I detect pride in that statement? It's just hard for an honest, hard-working member of society like me to imagine. Yes, your imagination was always a bit limited, Winston. What? I played poker for 7 years in that little room. And I've never lost once. What? See why the customers come now? Defeat the undefeated poker champion. It's quite a draw. That is, quite a draw. Wait, you never lost once? Not even one time? As I said, I'm a professional. He's played poker for 7 years and not lost once? Is that even possible? Two decks of cards? A simple measure to prevent cheating. If you alternate 2 decks, no one can slip in cards. There's something else I noticed. In addition to the cards on the table, there are some lying scattered on the floor. Precisely. Cards on the table, cards upon the floor. Each one forming a complete deck. A crime scene painted blue by a sad sweep of cards. It's poetic, really. Incidentally, we use 2 types of cards in the club. One deck of cards was red, the other blue. As I recall, in poker you make 5-card hands. I can see how it would be easy to cheat. Yes, a game of hands. I guess we're on the press everything stage, even though we're very early in the game. The room in the crime scene photo is an attraction? It is quite a history, actually. The Borscht Bowl Club used to be a gathering spot for black market types back in the day. Black market? Well, in the past, things like the black market are only in the silver screen nowadays. Suffice it to say that there were a lot of deals being made under the table. Right there in that room. Smoky room, gambling hoods. You know, just looking at this picture makes me feel bad. The bosses gather around the table, cutting deals, safe from the eyes of the law. Meanwhile, a goon keeps watch through the small window. I can practically picture it now. That window does look like it would be good for keeping a lookout, but little else. The room had a few other tricks to it, though it was common knowledge to our regulars. At any rate, they come to play poker in a room steeped in history. Despite the dark past, it was all good to clean fun. This competition you're talking about, I believe the court understands the nature of the game sufficiently. That's right. It was a simple game, after all. Are you sure? Huh? People are not murdered over simple games, Mr. Justice. Defendant, you were in the room the very moment that the crime occurred. Yet you claim no connection to the crime. Now that's strange. What's strange? I was testifying about the competition that night. Asking me about the crime at this point is against the rules, Your Honor. Of course, I expected to hear a cry of objection from the defense. Ah! I completely let that one slip by. Don't despair yet, Justice. Sir? Right, there's something I'd like made clear. Namely, your connection to the case at hand, and and I'd like to hear from you. Sure, why not? Very well, the defendant will amend his testimony. Just one little press. And I've got myself a whole new testimony. I plead silence regarding the murder, but I will say I never touched the murder weapon. But it does have your fingerprints. Objection! So you say you didn't touch the murder weapon? This grape juice bottle. Right? So I said. Something the matter, Mr. Justice. Too bad our new defense attorney never learned how to play dumb. What's this, Mr. Payne? I examined the bottle in question, you see, and it was covered with the defendant's fingerprints. Objection! No need to shout, Mr. Justice. I can hear you just fine. Excess yelling can damage the judge's ears, and our case. But what about my cords of steel? Anyway, what's so strange about fingerprints on a bottle in a restaurant? Well, it's true. The prints alone don't prove it, did they? Oh, they wouldn't prove a thing if they were normal fingerprints. Huh? But the fingerprints on the murder weapon were upside down. Upside down? What does that mean? It means he was holding the bottle inverted, and there can only be one reason for that. Oh, Phoenix, why were you holding the bottle like that? Yes, to brain someone with a bottle! You'll come to note also that Apollo is, I feel, more comical than Phoenix ever was. I mean, Phoenix got to some crazy, weird, funny stuff, but I don't know, I always felt like Apollo's game is a little more loose and fun, and he's a little bit more of a... Well, I mean, he's still a newbie, too. But then again, even with Phoenix's first game, the stakes were pretty high as soon as the second case came along because Mia was killed. So there wasn't much fun for, or there wasn't much room for goofiness. Like pure goofiness, especially in the courtroom. But yeah, no, Apollo just has more of like a comical kind of feel to it. We'll see how you guys think about the rest of the game, too. Mr. Gavin, I think things just took a turn for the worse. Oh, I see no problem, Justice. Huh? The only thing that matters is the truth. There's a good reason for everything, you'll see. Defendant, can you explain your fingerprints on this bottle for the court? I stand by my plea of silence regarding that matter. Regarding the murder. For now. Not very cooperative, are you? This could hurt your case. I'm sure he's uncooperative because he's hiding something. There must be some reason. Objection! Your Honor, you seem to have forgotten something. What might that be, Mr. Graffin? On the night of the crime, who was it that reported the murder to the police? Reported? Well, it was the defendant, Mr. Wright, but still that... Really? Yes, well, according to the case file, the murder was reported from near the scene by a call from the defendant's cell phone. Near the scene? Let's take a look at the diagram of the murder scene, shall we? Yes, let's. The victim was murdered in a small room in a basement 2 floors down from ground level. Of course, cell phones can't get reception so far down. The defendant used the stairs in this hallway to go above ground. The call came from the first floor of the restaurant. I see, and this is the phone that made the call. I wonder if it still has the Steel Samurai ringtone on it. The defendant could have just fled the scene of the crime if he so chose. The batteries are held up with a piece of tape. He should just buy a new one at this point. Maybe he can't afford it or he just doesn't care. He is very chill and laid back. Yet he fulfilled his... Oh, sorry, I don't know why I used the judge's voice. Yet he fulfilled his duty as a citizen and reported it to the authorities. And you claim he is being uncooperative. Nice save, Mr. Gavin. I'd better not waste this. I think the prosecution has toyed with our client enough for the time being. Toyed? I assure you, no one is more serious about... What was it you said? The defendant was in the room the very moment that the crime occurred? How can you possibly know this? That's a good question. How indeed? The answer is simple, Your Honor. The prosecution has a decisive witness. You're as good as they say you are. So someone else was in the room the night of the crime. That must mean they witnessed the crime. Everything up till now has been a warm-up, Justice. Are you ready? Very well. The prosecution may call its first witness to the stand. I'm gonna say right now that I am not going to try the accent that she has. I cannot do it. I don't even know. The witness will state her name and profession. Oh, hold on just a moment. Where's the witness? I surmise that she's been frightened by the defense's demonic-looking horns. Always after the hair. So I used a little hair gel. Relax, people. Have no fear. If any horns point to your direction, this court will cut them off. You are sure? I swear it on my gavel. Please, come on. Isn't violence against hair a crime, Your Honor? Well, if you are sure it's okay. I don't even know what I'm going to try for her accent. It's supposed to be Russian. I can't do that. Now, oh, whoa, wait a minute. Who would the prosecution care to explain the witness's, paraphernalia? Yes. She is a professional, Your Honor. Those are merely the tools of her trade. And that would be... My name is Olga Orly. I am employed as a waitress in Borscht Bowl Club restaurant. And then why the camera? Of course, it is my pride to serve borscht that is naming restaurant. But I also perform, how is said, other service. I take it one of these other services is taking the customer's pictures. Like, for example, this one. Okay. That's the defendant. Indeed, on the night of the murder. Man in white hat is one who has gone kaput. Indeed, that is the victim. Now, order. And this is quite a piece of evidence to casually drop onto our laps. It is the same way I drop cold bowls of borscht on laps of customers. Casually. Is borscht supposed to be cold? I don't know what borscht is. I thought that it was some sort of, like, pudding thing? Or, like, oatmeal or something? Well, I guess if it's pudding, it's cold. I'm going to have to look up what borscht is. And the court will casually accept this new evidence. Ah, yes. Very casual. Now, witness, where were you at the time of the murder? I was in room. The hideout, we call it. Excuse me, the hideout? It is room where famous gangster bad guy was arrested. Yes, bad guy. It's room where murder took place. What? Your look of utter surprise. It is lovely. I will post my courtroom door later for you. Photos will be numbered, and you will write which ones you want copy of. So there were 3 people in the room at the time of the crime. The victim, Shady Smith, Mr. Wright, and Olga Orly, our witness. And if Mr. Wright isn't the killer, that means... Very well, witness. You will testify at the court about that night's events. That night, customers asked me to deal cards for game. It was cold. Both players played with hats on. The victim, he plays whole time with hand on locket on his neck. Then last hand is done. But something terrible has happened. That man flew at victim and is strangling him to death. I'm sorry, what? Strangling? That's not how he died. Incidentally, who won the game? Isn't it obvious? The winner was the victim, Mr. Smith. That's ridiculous. Because Mr. Wright can't lose. Justice, maybe you can come up with a more legitimate objection. But he hadn't lost in 7 years. Take it from me, kid. It happens. I didn't lose a case my first 7 years as prosecutor. Incidentally, I have some evidence here. Another picture? These are the poker chips as they lay in the very moment of the crime. The hand and chips on this side belong to the defendant, Mr. Wright. Those on the far side belong to the victim, Mr. Smith. Chips, you say? Yes. Imagine that poker is war. Your hand is your army, and the chips are the spoils. I know that. After all, in my youth I was known as the poker head of courtroom number 3. I think he means poker face. Looking at this picture, it does seem most of the chips are on the victim's side of the table. Very well, the defense may cross-examine the witness. Hold on, I have a problem with your last statement. Objection! The first trial is always easier and faster, so... Oh, really? Strangled, you say? That's odd. Normal customers only joke on borscht. No, I mean, this report shows that the victim died of a blow to the head. Miss Orley, really now. Did you witness the crime? Eek! Is that borscht? Was it tomato soup? Looking at the picture, it doesn't seem like he was hit. He's still wearing his hat and everything. Yet it is a fact that he was hit, Your Honor. Oh. Well then. Here's a photo we took of the victim with his hat off during our investigation. Also, borscht is soup, and it is what she's holding because it's red. I was looking it up. Made with red beetroots. That gives it its distinctive red color. Well, there you go. So it shouldn't be cold? I guess? I don't know. Well, that's quite shocking, isn't it? And this head certainly was hit. But I have seen it happen. The defendant, he lunged at victim, his neck. Oh, really, Miss Orley? I think I've caught you in your own lie this time. Justice. I admire your enthusiasm, but perhaps you should think this through once more. What do you mean? I found a contradiction. There's one thing in her testimony that troubles me. Very well. It seems we should continue the cross-examination. There's such a thing as thinking too much. And this horse is dead. Let's stop beating it. There's such a thing as thinking aloud too much, too. Wait, am I thinking... Wait, when it's blue like that, is he thinking aloud? Dale Carter game. It was cold. Both players played with hats on. And unlocked it at his neck. Well, I mean, something about his neck. His locket? I believe it was good luck charm, da? He gripped it many times as he played that night. Yes, he must have felt as though it might carry him to the moon and stars. Though if it were small enough to fit around his neck, he wouldn't have much lift. The defense would like to clarification. This is a locket we're talking about. I mean, a pendant with a picture in it, right? Not a rocket. Of course, I knew that. It's probably a pendant shaped like a rocket. That's why she called it that. No, a locket's a locket. It doesn't matter what shape. It's considered bad form to poke fun at the hard of hearing in our society. Hard of hearing or hard of understanding? So what happened next? Well, that was delightful. Delightfully pointless. It's already April. How could it be cold? At Borscht Bowl Club, we have pride on authentic rustic Russian restaurant theme. Outside it's a city in spring, but inside is always as cold as Mother Russia. No way am I going there. When it comes to hot borscht, cold is best seasoning, da? Okay, see? Hot. You were dealing cards? Do you often do this? Do you do this often? Da, I am doing this. If customer wishes it, I serve everything. Borscht, collards, more borscht. Pictures, apparently. It is my work. It's good to hear of a place that hasn't forgotten the meaning of service. Welcome you to Borscht Bowl Club, where borscht is as warm as the waitresses. Thank you for not handing out flyers during the cross-examination. Usually the flyers are evidence. Not in this case. Something terrible! Eek! The defendant will refrain from needless shouting. Sorry. I need to seriously reconsider this vocal training thing. Now, Miss Orley, can you tell us what happened? Oh, I was so frightened. Duh, I trembled with fear. And then she says that. You didn't say anything about hitting before. So sorry. I must be forgetting Dista. Witness, you will take greater care with your testimony. Oh, he did. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Your Honor. That clears up the discrepancy with the autopsy report, I believe. The defendant made to strangle his victim, then changed his mind, and chose a simpler, looser means to do the job. Yes, that sums it up nicely. So he strangled them, then he hit him? Something's fishy about all this. Go ahead, I believe you know what it is you need to do. Leave it to me! There are only 3 people in the room at the time of the murder. The victim, Shady Smith, Mr. Wright, and if Mr. Wright isn't the killer. I've got you now, Orley. After the defendant tried to strangle the victim, he hit him with a bottle. I'm not quite sure what my issue is here. I might be losing my touch, guys. Oh, wait a second. 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 Where's the locket? You know, there was one curious part in her testimony, just like Mr. Gavin said. But what does it mean? Mr. Justice, would you care to explain what it is that you're thinking so intensely about? Recall the testimony, Your Honor. He looks so cute looking at his paper. I love the whole hand behind his back thing, too. The victim played with his hand on a locket at his neck, I believe she said. I hope you weren't about to raise an objection to the witness's grammar. No, but look at this photograph. Do you see a locket on the victim's neck? Well done, Justice. I'm impressed. I knew you'd be able to handle this. But what does it mean? If we are to believe this witness's testimony as is, then the locket disappeared following the victim's death. Lockets don't just disappear, Your Honor. It's quite simple when you think about it. If the locket is gone, someone must have taken it off, no? Taken it off? Wait, you don't mean... The defendant wasn't strangling the victim at all. He was taking off his locket. Wouldn't that explain it? Ah! Ah? Irk! Maybe? Defendant, what do you have to say to this? Nothing. He's chill as can be. I love his, like, mysterious, hiding his eyes under the teeny tiny rim of the beanie cap. Also, I still like his hat, though. I like the little button on it. Say. Yes? Oh, I just noticed this, but... You have something hanging around your neck, don't you? Oh? You mean this? Yes, it's a locket. With a photograph inside. Dun dun dun. A photo of my daughter. Come again! Mr. Wright, you have a daughter? We confirmed it at the time of the arrest. The picture in the locket is indeed Mr. Wright's daughter. So Mr. Wright has a locket, too. Why don't I buy that this is just a coincidence? Well, now, if the results of this poker game led to the murder, perhaps we should hear a bit more about the outcome of the game. Further testimony won't really be necessary. It's clear the defendant lost, badly. Miss Orley, you will testify to the court about the game played between the victim and the defendant. Da. Serious competition. The game began with 3,500 points and chips for each man. House chips come in two sizes, small and large. The one who was winning, it was the victim. For last hand, defendant played with all chips on table and loose. The moment loss was decided, defendant grabs bottle from table and... Indeed, looking at this picture, it does seem to be a one-sided game. As the court knows, poker was the defendant's life. Failure must have been a bitter pill to swallow. How many times have I heard these words? I done it in a fit of anger, Your Honor, and now I regret what I done. A common tale, but true. Methinks the judge watches too many old court movies. Mr. Wright says he hasn't lost in 7 years, so this testimony must be wrong. Are those the usual starting points? Were any special rolls used? No special. Usual game, usual rolls. If each man began with 3,500 points, then the total would be, exactly 7,000 points. Please, this isn't calculus. It's not even long division. Are the chips in this photo all the chips that were used? Of course. Why does she seem so afraid? What's the matter? Something's fishy with these chips. Should I press harder? Always press harder. Maybe you could explain a bit about these chips. Explain? What is there to be explained? Poker chips are poker chips. They're not fish and chips. Not a chip off the old block, and not a motorcycle cop, not a... Thanks. Now that I've pressed her, I'd better ask her something. What are these chips worth? Are they in dollars or rubles even? Yet, as I have been saying before, it was game, not gambling. Hard perhaps for capitalists to understand. 2 types of chip, 100-point chip and the 1,000-point chip. It is not money, Doc. Justice. Sir? Don't you find her comments interesting? In more ways than one, sir. I'd have it added to her testimony myself. Well, does the defense want her to add the testimony? Nah, that's okay. You don't have to do it. I do think this deserves further scrutiny. Add it to the testimony. I wish I knew where I was going with this. Bluffing to the max! We're back to the defense attorneys, guys. We are bluffing our way through. Very well. Witness if you would be so kind. Your Honor. Okay, the value of the chips is important. Let's take a look at our evidence, shall we? So, 7,000 chips was the total, right? So there should be a significant amount of 100 pointers and not as much 1,000 pointers. As we can see from the picture here, the more chips are actually the big black ones. So though it seems that Shady is winning, it is in fact true that Phoenix was winning because the little red ones are the thousands. Because the black chips have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. And the red chips have only 6, which makes 7,000 altogether. And means that Phoenix has 4,100 points, which is much more than half of the pot, so to speak. So I'm going to... Object. You sure it was the victim who won? Absolutely sure? seems our new attorney is a bit confused. A glance at the picture is enough to tell you who won, if you're not in kindergarten. Whoops, I accidentally pressed the court record instead of the next button. Just for safety's sake, could you explain the problem to the court? Of course, Your Honor. In this photo, I see small chips and I see large chips. Tell me, which were worth 1,000 points? Why, the big ones, of course, duh! Oh, I thought so too, but then the totals don't add up. The totals? Let's review what the witness told us. Each man started with 3,500 points in chips, and the combined total value of the chips was 7,000 points. Yes, if my calculations are correct. Let's see. Vary plus 1 carry the 5. They are, Your Honor. Now, look at the photo that allegedly shows all the chips. If the big chips are worth 1,000 points and the small chips are worth 100, and you add them up, how much is it? Do it yourself. You aren't in kindergarten, are you? 10,600 points. The chips don't add up. This clearly contradicts the witness's testimony. But why? How can this be? Exactly, Justice. Now that you know the what, you must determine the why. Right, there's only one possible way to explain this contradiction. Both were right. It's just they were... Each man began the game with 3,500 points. If all the chips are indeed shown in this photograph, then there can be only one answer. What is it? The value of the chips was the other way around. What? Want to know what I think? The small chips were worth 1,000 points, not the big ones. Madness! Utter madness! Show me the photograph of the chips again. There are 6 small chips and 10 large chips. Why, that does make 7,000 points when you add them up. Excellent work, Justice. It's almost as though you figured it out by yourself. Well, I'm just glad I was the one who said it. But wait! The value of the chips may be different, but that changes nothing. Indeed, the victim did have the large number of chips still. Exactly. If the small chips are 1,000 points and the large chips are 100, let's do a little math. Add up the points for each side of the table. The victim, Mr. Smith, had 2,900 points, and the defendant had 4,100 points. Well now, it seems that Mr. Wright was winning that night after all. That's impossible. My client had even less reason to kill the victim. After all, he was winning. Yarg! Now, Miss Orley, you must have known the true value of the chips, since you were there at the scene of the crime, weren't you? Eek! Order, order! It appears our defendant has lost his motive, and Mr. Wright's supposed defeat never happened. We must now ask ourselves whether we can trust the witness. Excuse me, what is it, Miss Orley? I did not want to be saying this, but actually, you see, see what, Miss Orley? What do we see? In the last hand, there was a cheat. There was cheat. A cheat? You don't mean a trick? Wait, what do you mean? A scam? They're all the same thing. Yes, there was cheat in last hand. That is why game ends with chips as they are. Great. Just great. First we have lying, now cheating! Well, this case certainly has taken a turn. For the interesting. Witness, will you please testify to the court? Tell us about this cheat in the final hand. This cheating. The final hand. In last hand, both men had full house. There is 4 of each card in deck, from ace to king. If you look at both men's hands, cheat is more obvious. The next moment, game becomes argument. The defendant trick was exposed. He took bottle in his hand. Poor Mr. Smith. Miss Orley, why did you not tell the court about this from the very beginning? I thought I smelled a cover-up here. Well, folks, it's time to throw back the covers.
A full house is a very high-scoring hand. Not easy to make in my experience.
That alone is enough to suspect less than scrupulous tactics. Mr. Gavin, what's a full house? Lawyers these days, you don't know your poker.
I can say this bodes well for your case or career. I can't say this bodes well for you.
What is this, some kind of secret court poker ring?
Justice, you know the terms 1 pair, 2 pair, and 3 of a kind, yes?
Yeah, no problem. 2 cards with the same number makes a pair, and 3 makes a 3 of a kind.
Good. Now picture a hand with 1 pair and 3 of a kind. And that's a full house.
You know, for the people who are playing this game that don't know that.
Apollo needs to be the dumb one.
Not dumb, just the unknowing one. Just because he doesn't know doesn't mean it's a problem, Mr. Judge and Payne. He stayed away from poker. Nothing wrong with that. That doesn't sound very easy to make, does it? You can see each player's hand in this photo. Wow, they both have full houses. Yeah, and I don't see any, like, that are the same. Like, all the aces are there, but they're all different aces. Oh, you forget, there's an easy way to make a full house. And go undefeated for 7 years. You cheat. How dare you?
The defense may cross-examine the witness.
If he did cheat in the last hand, that still leaves one important question. Mr. Wright lost that hand. Oh, he did. Because the kings, I think those are kings, are greater than the 7s. Unless 7 is some weird, crazy, whatever thing. Like a wild card. Who's ever heard of a professional con man losing when they cheat? Well, you can't win all the time, or else it's just suspicious. Also, wait, how did Phoenix become a professional con man in the last 5 seconds here? Okay. From ace to king. Please explain. How was it clear? Well, the defendant, he played a 5th ace. A 5th ace? I still remember both hands very well. Mr. Smith's hand was 3 aces. And Mr. Wright's too. Obviously, cheating was afoot, or perhaps I should say a hand. Your Honor, perhaps this can be added to the testimony without Mr. Payne's joke.
Very well. The witness will add the detail to her testimony, please.
Yeah, that was not what I saw on the table.
Objection!
It appears the witness is mistaken. Mistaken? But my name... Look, this piece of evidence clearly contradicts what you said in your testimony.
That's the photo of the chips, is it not?
Justice, and perhaps you ought to explain your point in a way that the judge can comprehend. In other words, use your finger to point out your point.
Yes, please point out the contradiction in this photo.
What particular point contradicts the witness's testimony? This one. He did not have 3 aces. Miss Orley, in your testimony, you made the following claim. Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces. But as you can clearly see, the victim's hand only held 2 aces. Eek! Well, maybe the witness was simply confused. Perhaps it was the defendant's hand that held the 3rd ace in question. And take another look at the evidence. As you can see, the defendant also had 2 aces in his hand. Where's the 5th ace? I see cheating all right, and it's going on right here in this courtroom.
Take that. 2 aces in each player's hand does make 4 aces total. Hardly proof of cheating.
Wait, please. It is true. I have seen it, the 5th ace. There was cheating, I swear to you. That's odd. She must be lying, yet she's the most sincere I've seen her all day. You're right to trust your instincts. Mr. Gavin, who knows what lies in store for us in the trial ahead? Your Honor, if I may, I have a suggestion.
What might that be, Mr. Gavin?
If you don't mind, perhaps we might examine the actual cards.
The cards?
Mr. Payne.
Yes?
The players' hands that night were set aside as evidence, were they not? The defense would like to request that the cards be shown to the court.
Very well, the prosecution will submit this evidence. Which will you examine? The victim's cards, or the defendant's cards?
If these cards don't prove cheating was going on, nothing will. Now, which of these hands is more suspicious? Okay, so the defendant's hand is the one that has the card that she didn't see. So that's more suspicious right now, even though she says that the victim was the one who cheated. Or, I'm sorry, I switched the two. I am so sorry. The victim had the card that she didn't see, but she says the defendant cheated. So I want to see the victim's hand, because it is weird. It's the victim's hand that changed over the course of the witness's testimony, right? The defense requests time to examine Mr. Smith's cards.
Very well, Mr. Payne, if you would.
Very well. Why can't I just see both of them? Get to it, Justice.
Yes, sir!
It's doing it. I'm not doing that. It was doing it for me. When examining evidence, be sure to view it from all sides and angles. Try using the dials. That should give you a better perspective. Okay, let's do this. Oh, hey! There's a blue one. What? Your Honor, look at this! One of the victim's cards. The back is a different color. Which card is that? The King of Diamonds. That's impossible! But I put that card in Red's hand. What was that? Thank you, Kristoff. What was that, Miss Orley? No, net. I meanly said, I have eek. Your Honor.
Mr. Gavin. Yes.
Tell me, what is the easiest way to cheat at poker?
To cheat?
I'll tell you. One merely needs a friend. A comrade, shall we say. The dealer.
Ah!
Wait, so you mean this witness, Miss Orley? She's the cheater. A professional, I wager. Yarg!
Order!
Focus, Justice. Time to take advantage of her. Of her mistake. Your Honor, please recall the testimony we just heard. That's impossible. I put the card in Wright's hand. Ergo, Miss Olga Orley conspired. I almost said Miss Oldbag. Miss Olga Orley conspired to cheat, not with my client, but with the victim, Mr. Shady Smith. Not only did she cheat, she cheated poorly. Therefore, it's not hard to imagine an altercation between her and the victim. What?
Wait, you don't mean the defense isn't accusing the witness, Miss Olga Orley, are you?
That is the defense's way. Time for justice. There were 3 people in the room at the time of the incident. And if Mr. Wright isn't guilty, that means I am. The defense accuses the witness, Miss Olga Orley, of murder. Oh, it landed so nicely.
Mr. Payne, where's your witness, Miss Olga Orley?
Well, I can't pronounce her name. It appears she has lost consciousness, Your Honor.
Mr. Justice.
Your Honor?
Seems you presented a new possibility to the court. When suggesting a connection between the witness and the victim, Mr. Smith.
And that means
this court cannot pronounce a verdict for the defendant at this time.
What? I did it! I held out!
I see no point in prolonging the trial this day. The prosecution will need to make further inquiries.
Objection!
That was a familiar voice. Mr. Wright? You can't end the trial here, Your Honor. Not yet. What nonsense is the defendant spewing now? Think, one of the cards had a different colored back. Don't you wonder what it means? What are you doing, Mr. Wright? Raising objections right when you're about to get off the hook? Ridiculous.
Mr. Payne, you of all people should know. Mr. Wright has a talent for the ridiculous.
They're not wrong.
Perhaps we should get to the bottom of things. Let's clear up the facts about the cave of that fateful night.
As was said before, we alternated between 2 decks of cards that night.
That was said before. The 2 decks of the club have different colored backs, blue and red. 1 color per deck. Why use different colored backs? If we use the same color, the 2 decks might get mixed. You used different colors and they still got mixed. We used the red deck for the last game. I see, but that's odd. For some reason, I have this impression that you were using the blue cards. Yeah, me too. I'm sure someone said something about blue cards. Oh, wasn't it Kristoff? He said the blue flames of the back or whatever. Whatever. In the end, 1 card of the wrong color got into the mix. Which means there was cheating. Yes, a card slipped into the deck would seem to indicate cheating. Yet this card raises 2 serious questions. Apollo? Yes? Let's consider the first question, shall we? Think. In the last game, when was the card swapped? When? There are 3 broad possibilities here. It could have been swapped before the murder, during the murder, or after the murder. Well, yeah, thanks for the news bulletin, Mr. Wright. Of course it was swapped. Oh? It might be as simple as you think, Mr. Payne. Or it might not be. I'd like to hear what Apollo thinks first. When do you think the cards are swapped? When was the card swapped? Are you implying that it was swapped after the murder, Mr. Wright? What was it? The King of Diamonds? It was the King of Diamonds, and the King of Diamonds is on the top of this. And once again, there's blue cards here. So I'm very confused. Because they weren't playing with red cards. Okay, let's play the game. After the murder. Perhaps it happened after the murder?
What's that? Ridiculous! What's the point of cheating after the hands have been shown? That's silly.
Yes, but tell me, how do you swap cards during the game? I'll take silly over impossible.
I think I was wrong. Take it from me, son. There's a lot of silly in this world and very little impossible. Oh, I accidentally clicked through that. See, the problem with having this as a game, as not being able to restart a fresh game, is I accidentally skipped the typing out of the lines. If you pulled that during the game, you'd be caught in no time. Quite true. That would mean that the blue card in question was swapped after the hands were shown. After the murder. Oh, I was right. Okay, this is going past silly and straight on to crazy. I ask again, what's the point of cheating after the game's over? Who would do that?
True indeed. It's one of the mysteries before us.
There's another.
Yes, a simple yet decisive question must be asked. Who swapped the red card for a blue card?
Who?
The game and murder is done. The victim is dead. Only 2 remain in the room, alive, that is. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, and our witness, Olga Orley. Okay, so who was it that swapped the red card for blue? Phoenix would have known that it was supposed to be red. Olga would have known that it was supposed to be red. So it would have to be someone else. Someone who wasn't in the room at the time of the game, right? Is that what you're implying here? The one who swapped the cards wasn't Mr. Wright, of course. And, well, it doesn't seem like it could have been Olga Orley either.
Oh, what are you suggesting?
It's hardly a logical conclusion, I'll admit. As a defense, I think it only makes sense for you to name Miss Orley at this point. Yes, I know. But she was the one who dealt the cards, right? I just can't believe she would make the mistake of swapping the wrong color card.
And if the card was swapped during the game, it'd be obvious. This is something you'd like to share with the court, Mr. Wright.
Oh, my apologies, Your Honor. I was just thinking how much fun this all is.
He misses the courts. Fun!
Fun? How about confusing? I have no idea what the defense is claiming, Your Honor. If the one who swapped the card wasn't the defendant and wasn't Miss Orley, then who was it? Yeah, well, that is the question, isn't it? Precisely. Huh? I believe we're about to see this case take a new direction. A new direction? We'll find that, indeed, after the murder. Someone swapped one of the cards in the victim's hand. And that someone made two critical mistakes. I'm sure you're going to tell us that the first was swapping the wrong color card. Because the one who did the swap didn't know two colors of cards were being used. The other mistake was the number on the card. Right. The person replaced the fifth ace with a king. I'm sure whoever swapped it wasn't expecting there to be a fifth ace after all. And all they knew was that the game had been won with a full house. So they picked up a king from the table and swapped it in. But there's one problem. According to our case record, that person doesn't exist. True, not until now. But you have to admit the possibility of a fourth person. Though it's more than a possibility. There was someone else there that night at the scene of the crime. What? I believe the judge spoke truthfully earlier. You do make trials ridiculous, Mr. Wright. This trial has proceeded on one central assumption, namely that at the time of the incident, there were only 3 people in that room. I believe this new evidence, shall we say, overturns that assumption? And the problem is that she chose to conceal this information from the court. I suppose that is a problem, yes. The court is adjourned for a brief recess. Mr. Gavin, I'll see you in my chambers during this recess. Certainly, Your Honor. Very well. The trial will resume in 20 minutes. That was quite unexpected, Mr. Wright. To suddenly claim there was another person at the scene of the crime like that. I must ask, is it the truth? Well, no. I think you would know the answer to that. Being mysterious, are we? Sadly, I have no time for mysteries. I'd only ask that you leave the defending to your defense in the future. Otherwise, I cannot guarantee the outcome. I see you haven't mellowed out one bit, Christoph. Justice. Yes, sir! The judge has summoned me to his chambers, so carry on without me. You did well, Apollo. Can I ask you something? Sure. That locket you wear, is that really yours, Mr. Wright? You're wondering about the victim's disappearing locket? Here, you can take a look at it. That's a picture of my daughter in there. I'm just surprised to hear you had a daughter. Most people are. Perhaps you'll meet her one of these days. One more question. The one who cheated that night, was it you? What do you think? Huh? You know what happened 7 years ago? What I did? It's not unreasonable for you to think that I might cheat. I never, honest, but it is odd that he managed to go undefeated for 7 whole years. Want to know something? There's only one game where you can be dealt bad cards all night and still win. Poker. Eh? You see, poker is all about reading your opponent. In that way, it's a lot like a court case. Poker is like a trial law. Figure out what your opponent is thinking, and you win. Well, yeah, but that's harder than it sounds. I think not. Try as they might to conceal it, everyone reveals their true thoughts in the end. Their body language can become a valuable source of information. You're kidding. That witness, for instance, Miss Orley. She would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice? No. Come on, who'd notice that? Words, habits, twitches, it's all information for the reading. That's the secret to winning, Evala. Someone taught me, and now I pass the secret on to you. that I'm not worthy. I mean, there's no way I'll pick up these signals. No, you can do it. Huh? You just don't know it yet. What's he talking about? But you will, soon. Almost forgot. One more thing about this case. You should know I haven't told the truth to anyone yet. You've been lying the entire time? What? I knew it! I have my reasons, of course. All shall be revealed. And Apollo, I need you to be there, defending me. I need your power. My, power? I had no idea my cord to steel were that special. It's time. The real trial begins now. Do your best.
How y'all feel about Mentor Phoenix? I am not going to go into the details of 7 years ago until it is revealed through the game, because you are going to listen and watch as if you are new to watching it, and as if I am new to watching it, or playing it, I guess. So I'm gonna zip my lips and talk to you guys not about that next time.